Hey everybody, we're going to start a brand new unit of study here. We're going to start talking about how living things are classified, and they're classified into what are called 6 kingdoms. And this slideshow, if I can get it up and going, is going to take you through those 6 kingdoms. So the first kingdom is one that we've talked a little bit about this year. You should know a lot about animals. Animals are classified as being able to catch their own food. Multicellular, animals are made of more than one cell, and the cells in every kind of animal will all have a nucleus. And usually when we think of animals, we think of mammals, but insects, sea sponges, jellyfish, those are all types of animals. So the first kingdom is the animal kingdom. The second kingdom is the plant kingdom. You guys know a lot about plants. We've been talking about them all year long. Plants use sunlight, carbon dioxide, and water to make their own food. They are multicellular. That means they're made of more than one cell. And all the cells in a plant will have a nucleus. There are some examples of plants. One thing that kids get confused about is moss. Moss is indeed a type of plant. You know it's a type of plant because it's green. And being green, that means that it has chlorophyll and it is able to capture sunlight and make its own food. So moss is a type of plant, as well as flowers and trees and so on. The third type of kingdom, so we've got animals and plants, so our third kingdom is the fungi kingdom. And what's important for you to understand is that they're kind of plant-like. They kind of look like plants, but most importantly, guys, they do not make their own food. They reproduce from spores, and they've got these hair-like structures that allow them to absorb nutrients from the food that they're growing on. So when we think of fungi, we think of decomposers, and the back too far, and all the cells in a fungus will have a nucleus. And there's different types of fungi. Yeast is a type of fungi. Mushrooms, now there we look at mushrooms and we're like, oh, but they're growing from the ground. They kind of look like plants, but they're not plants. Okay, very important. Not able to make their own food. You're going to notice that they're not green. They don't have chlorophyll, can't capture sunlight to make their own food. So they're not plants, they're fungi. And then mold, of course, is a fungi. Our third kingdom is the protist kingdom. These are pretty cool. These guys are single-celled, so that means they're only one cell big. Each protist will have a nucleus, and they like to live in moist places. They like to live where it's wet. And there's different kinds of protists. There's plant-like protists that can make their own food, animal-like protists that have to catch their food, and fungi-like protists that behave like decomposers. Protists are really helpful in the environment. Plant-like protists provide most of our oxygen because of photosynthesis. So the majority of the oxygen that we breathe is actually coming from these little guys, only one cell big, that are doing photosynthesis all the time. Protists are the first part of the food chain. They soak up carbon dioxide, and they are food for bigger organisms. So protists are very important, even though they're only one cell big. And I'll show you a quick video here of what protists are like. They're pretty cool. So like I said, they live in moist places. Okay. And they're microscopic because they're only one cell big, so it's not like we can look inside and see them with our naked eye. You need a microscope to be able to see protists. Deeper and deeper and deeper into the water. Hidden under the surface. Not the fish. In that tiny drop of water are these little tiny microscopic guys called, not those guys, they're humans, called protists. And that's what they look like. They're super cool. I just love protists. I mean, one cell big, but they're able to move around. What? That protists can make their own food? They're pretty neat. Okay, then we have another kingdom, so our fifth kingdom. So think about it. So far we talked about four kingdoms: plants, animals. I guess we did animals first. So animals, plants, fungi, protists, new word. And here's our fifth kingdom. It's called the Eubacteria kingdom. Now, I think of the Eubacteria like this. When I think of bacteria, I go, ew. And so when I, to remember the Eubacteria, they're the ones that make us go, ew. They're single cells. They don't have a nucleus. Now that's what makes them different from the other kingdoms that we talk about, is that bacteria do not have a nucleus. They will have a cell wall. They have different shapes, and the Eubacteria can live anywhere. Here's a quick video to show you what Eubacteria looks like.
Hi, this is Dr. O'Reilly with another plaque sample showing an unusual situation here with white blood cells in this sample. What I wanted to show you is this white blood cell in particular, where you have 2 nucleus inside the white blood cell instead of the usual 3 nucleus. And that tells me that this white blood cell is starting to deteriorate and die. The reason why is that this cell is lined, as I'm pointing out with the arrow here, is lined with bacteria. These are actually bacteria along the cell wall or the outside membrane of this white blood cell. And this actually happens this is a direct sample from a patient's mouth. So this is actually happening live, where these bacteria are attaching and boring into this white blood cell to eventually kill it.
Okay, so again, bacteria make me go, ew. Let's see, Eubacteria. Now, bacteria, the Eubacteria, this is our fifth kingdom. Eubacteria can be helpful. They're decomposers. So that's a good thing about them, but they can also be harmful because they can cause infections like colds or strep throat or blood poisoning. Okay, now we have our sixth kingdom. Think about it. We've had 5 kingdoms so far. We've had animals, plants, fungi, protists, Eubacteria, and here's our sixth one called Archaebacteria. Now, if you look at that prefix, archae, think about where you've maybe seen that prefix before. And if you're thinking, well, I've seen that in words like archaeology, you're right. And what do archaeologists study? Well, they study ancient things. So Archaebacteria are the ancient bacteria. Okay, these are the oldest living things on Earth. They're single cell, they don't have a nucleus, and what's cool about them is they live in super harsh environments. Places like hot springs or places where like deep, deep under the surface of the ocean.
In the beginning of time, billions and billions of years ago, a cell was born. It was a unicellular prokaryotic bacteria with a name only he could possess. Archaebacteria. The Archaebacteria lived in the most extreme environments, so hostile that it would make a grown man cry. With extreme heats and oxygen nowhere to be found, he lived his life day by day. There are about 100 species in the Archaebacteria kingdom. I will share 3 examples with you. Prepare yourselves. The methonogens. They produce methane from carbon dioxide and hydrogen. They die in the presence of oxygen and can be found in swamps and marshes. And cowiness. Thermoacidophiles. They usually grow in Yellowstone Park.
Didn't mean for that to happen.
Don't dare confuse it with Eubacteria, for it consists of different structures.
What I want you to do...
In the beginning of time, billions and billions...
That was weird. What I want you to do is, as your assignment, I want you to open up your science notebook slideshow. I want you to prepare another slide, and on this slide, I want you to name the 6 kingdoms of living things. Animals, plants, fungi, protists, Eubacteria, Archaebacteria. And I want you to spell them correctly. So this slideshow is going to be presented to you as well. I'll link it to this assignment. So you do need to spell correctly and simply list the 6 kingdoms of living things. If you also want to find like a picture of each one, you can do that too. But if you just want to list the 6, that's fine as well. All right, good luck.